Alright guys, we're back here today again. It's late, but still gotta feed my worms, so let's get to it. So the plan today is to again feed all of these bins and see if any of the worms hatch from the breeding bin. And then these two bins up here, they can be harvested since they are a little past the harvest date, since the texture is getting a little muddy. So we're gonna get to that today. And then we're also going to separate the worms from here. The red wrigglers and the Indian blue worms, those are going to be separated, and then they'll be placed into the breeding bins here, and the Indian blue ones will be placed into this bin. And this was one of my first bins for vermicomposting. As you can see, I drilled all of these holes on the top, and then they like to escape. So I put some mesh taping on it so they can't get through. But yeah, this bin will be the only bin with Indian blue worms, and they'll be only used for vermicomposting since they are voracious eaters. So what I'm going to do first is put this bin. This bin is full of the Indian blue worms, and I'm just going to start accumulating them in this bigger bin now. Alright, so I'm going to start sifting my worm castings, and I'm going to change out the size of the screen. So I'm going to start with the smaller one first. This is a 1/8 of an inch, and then I'm going to switch it back to the 1/4 inch so I can let the bigger particles go through, and then see if I want to use that as casting, or I'm going to use it as the next worm bin's bedding. So switching it out is as easy as that. Just pop one out and pop that other one in. So I'm gonna have 3 bins. I'm going to the black one is going to have the worm castings, and this one's going to have the rest of the bedding and other organic material that they did not eat yet. So I'm going to mix this up first, and right here we can see that there's a lot of worms. So I'm going to also be moving the worms today. Just going to start accumulating them here. And then these Indian blue worms, these can all go into this bin down here. Yeah, so sorting this out is very difficult to do, but you gotta do what you gotta do to keep it to have 100% red wrigglers and keep them separated. So I'll separate them afterwards. I'll separate these after I get all of this sifted, so they'll be in a ball, and then I could just pick out the red wrigglers from the non-red wrigglers, and that should be easier instead of doing it now. Alright, so let's get started. Then if I see a worm ball like this, I'm just going to throw them into the bin. Alright, let's just double check if there's no red wrigglers. Notice that most of the worms that are the same species, they just like to stay together, so pretty sure these are all red Indian blue worms, so in you go. Alright, so I just got done sifting all of the worm castings from the first bin, and we can see this is some really nice fluffy material. The white specks that you see are probably the eggshells that I pulverized and put in here, but adding that to the garden is really good as well. So yeah, I'm just gonna give a quick run through, see if there's any worms in here. It doesn't seem like there are any, but yeah, and then this is all the leftover material, the bigger things that didn't get through. This is still a little too wet, but now I'm going to employ another method to remove the worms from the casting, from their bedding. So it's going to be, I'm just going to scrape away a little bit at a time from the top layer, take it off, and then see if there's any worms, and then from there it'll go lower and lower, and then I'll be able to separate the worms out. So let's get to it. Alright, so now I have the leftover bin with all of the bedding that was too big to go through. So I'm going to let this one dry out a little more before I harvest them again next week. But there should be no worms in there, but if they are, there should be enough organic material in there for them to eat. Alright, to begin removing the worms from the bedding, we're just going to scrape away a little bit at a time. Just scrape a little bit, put it in here, scrape a little bit. And the worms don't like the light, so they'll just go down. And since they were just recently stressed out, they're going to go down and try to congregate as well. So everything I'm better getting here, there's no worms inside on the top level. And if you want, you just come here and double check. Alright, so from that first scrape, there was only 3 worms that came, so that was pretty good. Then we're just going to wait for the worms to go down a little bit more, and then we're going to scrape again. And here it's easier to tell which one is the red wriggler versus the Indian blue worm. You see, this one is moving around a lot versus this one is much more docile. Like we see, the patellum is much more bigger than on this one than this one, so it's easy to pick them apart. So if I see one like this, I'll just pick it out, and then I'm going to put it into one of the breeder bins. Alright, so I think you guys seen me do enough of this. I'm going to show you guys the end result at the end. Alright, so once my pile becomes small, I like to just brush it aside, and then the layer is thin enough where I can just see the worms, and then I could just pick it up and then throw it into under the corner. So that's my corner right now with all of the worms. See, I'll just stain together right here. State. Alright, and give it to this view. So I'm just gonna keep scraping it away. If you see anything, I'm just gonna throw it there. Alright, so there's nothing else left in the piles here. Maybe 1 or 2 got I didn't see, but I got majority of them right over here. And then from here, we're just going to let them go together, let them become a worm ball. Alright, let's just pick it up. Wow, look at all that. Nice. Let's get a closer look at this worm ball in action. Very nice. Alright, so here's all of the accumulated red wrigglers from all of the bins from before. Here we have a little mini worm ball. So I'm going to put these guys into the breeding bin and get them to work. And here are the worms that try to escape. Look, they don't really get far, but yeah, just littered all across the garage floor. So sad. Alright, so I just got done separating all the worms from these 2 bins, and they were put into the nursery bins over here. And that was a lot of work, but still have these 4 to go, and then everything will be 100% red wrigglers here, and then 100% Indian blue worms in here. Alright, so that took about an hour to do, and I only wanted to do it once, so it's better to do it now when I have not as many worms. So I'm gonna do one more bin and then feed the rest, and that should be that. Alright, we're gonna reveal what's under here, and it's just a lot of food scraps. Moisture level in here looks pretty good. Start messing it around. I'm not seeing a lot of worms in this bin. I'm not too sure why. Just tossing it around, but not seeing too much. Temperature in my garage is about 70 degrees, so not like they're dying or anything. But I do see a couple, but they don't seem too active. But let's just we're going to be harvesting this bin in the next week or so anyways, so it'll be a good time to separate them out. But in the meantime, let's just start feeding them first. So what I like to do first is to add a layer of shredded paper. Then I'm gonna come in with my food scraps. And what I'm gonna give this bin is some dragon fruit skin. I'm just gonna lay that flat right down there, and then give them some tomato that started going bad. And everything here is frozen first, so let's just open that up for them. Yeah, everything's still frozen. Maybe that's why they don't like the cold food that I'm giving them. But before that, I'm going to put some eggshell grit in here. Drink a little bit like that. Just cover it up. And we're good to go for this bin. Very easy and simple, just like that. And I'm going to do that for the next 5 or so bins as well. Alright guys, so I hope you enjoyed that video, and I'll catch you on the next one. See ya.